Holly with Y Senior Virtual Connect, and I'm super happy that I get to see some faces today. So thank you, and those that I can't see. Anyway, I'm glad that you're here. And those of you who are watching later, I'm glad that you're getting to take part in this as well. So Holly Hughes is here with us today, and Holly is a local Charlottean, I think, or at least she lives here, but she's an author and she's written a book, and so it's pretty cool that she's right here, and she could be right here in person. I'd be doing a book signing at the Y, hopefully.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. But we would have to do like an exercise then sign or
Oh
sign
yeah,
an exercise.
I could teach a class, and then we could talk about your book, and you could sign some books. But Holly's an intuitive healer, and she's written this incredible book, and I know she has so much to share with us today. So rather than me talking a lot about Holly, I'm going to let Holly talk about Holly and tell you all about her book and things that she knows that it's going to really help us during this time and just in life in general. So welcome, Holly. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. So, I'm Holly Hughes. I'm an author and intuitive healer here in Charlotte. My office is actually in downtown Matthews. And I really love talking about, especially right now, what it means and how do you define who you are now. It's almost a year after the pandemic. We've all kind of gone through a lot. A lot of people kind of got depressed and sad, and we've had to shift absolutely everything: human contact, relationships, and just getting by and managing the pandemic. We've kind of put ourselves last, right? Like, I know for me, I'm juggling family, taking care of people, trying to parent, trying to keep my business afloat, homeschool, yada, yada, yada. And I know, like, the things that make me happiest, which are dancing and exercise, there's some weeks I'm just all about it. Then other weeks I'm like, red wine. Red wine right now is so much easier than having to take 2 showers in a day, right? So, my book is called Real Not Perfect, which is like my theme in life, and it's how to become your happy, authentic self. And it really is a step-by-step process, which talks about how do you define yourself? Do you define yourself in just in how you are with your family expectations, community expectations? What words do you use to define yourself? Are they more negative self talk than not? And then how do we shift that perspective and start doing things to honor who you are, do what makes you happy, create boundaries, and saying no are like two of the biggest things that you have to do in order to maintain any sort of self-esteem and self-worth, I think, right? You can't please everybody. If you're always busy pleasing everybody, you're never on that list, right? You're last. And then you're probably busy dealing with like things of like, well, if I do this, I'll upset them, I'll be less than, and then like that's a whole mishigas with that. And ultimately, at the end of the book, I like to talk about what self care is. And I think the first steps for self care always start with like doing things that make you feel good. That could be wearing your nice clothes or putting pants on with a button right now or getting a manicure or something like that. But for me, ultimately, self care is always about what feeds your soul. Like, so that means something that invigorates you, that makes you excited and happy. For me, it's always dance. When I'm dancing, I'm happy, right? It never has anything to do with social media, right? That's because this is a lie and you're actually disconnected. But for me, it's dance. I like going outside and going for a walk. The other day, after like a week of rain, remember, it was like sunny for a few hours. And I was like, I really should go outside, but my dog is going to get all muddy and then I'm going to have to wash the dog. And I didn't go. And then it started raining again. And I was like, I should have gone outside. Right. So I still don't get it right all the time, too. But doing those things that feed your soul will give you more energy for the rest of your life. So, do you kind of like want to bounce some stuff off, or anyone have questions? Like, how do you guys want to do that?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we can kind of open up the floor how you guys want to talk about that. But I mean, I think it's important for people to sort of honor, that balance between, where do we go, what do we do, and what actually makes us happy, and then what makes us happy can we do in COVID, because that I find that challenging too. Like, and then do I take chances doing that, like, do I go out to a restaurant and eat? Like, I'm not eating inside of the restaurant yet, but can I eat outside? Maybe I want to do that. And so it's this constant balance. And how do I visit people and try to be safe and try to work that boundary of safety versus meeting my happiness? So,
Yeah, I think in our world right now, trust is an issue, right? Like if we all trusted what was going on, the shot wouldn't be scary for so many people, right? If we all trusted what was going on, maybe COVID wouldn't have been so bad. Like we all know that we're being fed information like with an agenda. Every side of the aisle has an agenda, right? So when it comes down to self care, you're going to have to make some choices for yourself and what works for you and your family. And if it doesn't work for a friend, then, all look like adults here. It doesn't mean that like they're the enemy or anything. They just have a different, you know, boundary for them. Like for me as an empath and an intuitive, when COVID first broke out and everything shut down, I got so depressed. Like I literally felt the fear of the world coming at me and it overwhelmed me and it felt like bricks just piled up on top of me and I was like how do I get out from under here. So like I always talk that happiness is an option, right? So there you can do tiny things. Like I'm super sentimental about small things. And when someone does a big show for me, I'm usually like, I don't know. I don't know how to usually take that in. But like the small things make you happy. And sometimes it's going back to a hobby you had when you were younger, right? Or just doing something for the sake of doing it. Because again, it makes you happy without an expectation or an agenda, like you're going to become the best at it or an expert at it. Wait, someone has her hand. Pinky.
I have been knitting for probably most of my life. And last week I discovered a way to knit a striped piece without having to cut the ends. Now, those of you that don't knit don't know what I'm talking about. But I carry the yarn up the side, and it made me so delighted. I was just thrilled with learning how to do that.
I learned to crochet. I would turn my camera, but you don't want to see that part of my room right now. But I learned to crochet, and no one thought I could do it. I bought a kit at Michael's, and it's a tiny squid. And it's not the prettiest thing, but I did it and I taught myself and I read the instructions that made no sense to me, but it made me so happy just to do the smallest thing. I wish I
Right.
liked to cook. I don't because cooking just means dishes to clean for me. Like this. And like I roasted a chicken yesterday that took 2 hours, right? And we eat it in 35 seconds because that's how fast we eat in this house. So like that, but I know a lot of people find love. There's something like meditative for them in the slicing and the dicing and yeah, right, to put that love into your food. I love people who love to cook. I think I like the food I cook, but just doing it, yeah, that doesn't feed my soul. It's like it's pretty much like on the laundry thing for me. I'm like, it's another never-ending thing. I want to know as an adult woman, if you all feel this too, because I think everyone else here is a woman. Why is what's for dinner our question? Why? Why is it our question? Like I want to bat that one back. Like I
mm,
am no longer in charge of that one. I'm over it.
mm. Yeah, I love to cook. So, but I love to cook. Somebody has to be in the room for me to love to cook. It's weird. Like I love cooking, but I like, and nobody has to really help for me. I mean, I enjoy it, but just be in the room and talk to me. Mostly because I like to have people around too. So, cooking is fun for me, but it doesn't feel fun if like, my husband's upstairs working. I'm like, no, you have to come downstairs. You can even work downstairs, but you have to be in the same room with me. Well, and I'll cook. He usually does dishes too, so that helps. But yeah, it's like the dancing too. Like I know you've probably taken some dance classes, I'm sure, and those things make you happy. But some of those things are kind of harder to do right now. Cooking is not harder to do. There's a lot of cooking that can go on now.
And gardening can go on, right? That we just started spring gardenings. I really think like when you're in a funk, literally putting your hands in dirt grounds you, like you're literally is grounding you. You're connecting to the earth. And it's again, you're not worried or consumed with anything to do with yourself, right? It's for something else, and that is for me what is really, that is the epitome of self-care. When you lose track of time, when you're not worried about yourself or how you look while you're doing it, right? Whatever. What's her name? I think it's Irina who does like the dancing, the cardio dance at the
Oh,
Y.
I read that. She's amazing.
She's like a big hit. I've taken some of her classes, yeah, it's when I'm in there, no one has an expectation of me in there. I don't really, I'm like newer to the Y there, but whatever. I take African dance class every Thursday night. So that had to slow down and obviously went away after COVID, but the group of women, we were dancing on the Black Lives Matter mural uptown for a while, and then it just got to winter and that stopped. And then I started taking tap lessons. But the thing is, the tap class is on the camera. So the minute the teacher explains something and I hit the floor, I can't hear. I'm like, well, this is tricky. I have to figure out the logistics of that. But I'm making my family crazy. And I'm so happy about this because I'm literally tapping up the steps, like in my house shoes, in my bare feet, shuffle, slap, ball change. Because I watched a movie and it had this tap dancing. I was like, I wonder if my feet remember. It's just fun. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And I think that's part of it. Like people ask me often about meditating, right? Because people say to be mindful, you should meditate. But I find it really hard to just like sit back and be like this. I mean, like I can do it, right? But I've pride. When I first started, I had the monkey brain. I was like, why do I feel my knee and my neck is creaking? Like I could feel every body ache. Suddenly I was thirsty. Like I heard the cat, and that's okay. I think meditation can be that walk outside when you're just quiet and appreciating what is there and you're not full of worry, right? So our world has become full of worry and fear, worry and fear. And the ways to undo that are just those small, gentle, kind moments that you're kind to yourself and you're doing something that makes you feel good. It doesn't have to be ginormous. Like I can't take 1,000 dance classes right now, but right, going outside is awesome. There's like hawks. I'm obsessed with hawks. And today they've been screeching all around me and I'm like, "Oh, there's another one and there's another one." And that made me happy. And it might sound almost too simplistic, but I really do get that happy when I see it, right? Like I just like running into nature. It's pretty cool.
We have a hawk, and I don't know enough about birds, but there must be something about hawks right now because we back up to woods and I'm watching them like build nests. So I don't know whether they're in their what season they're in, but at the beginning of COVID in March last year, we had a hawk that would come up and sit at our bird feeder, and I have squirrels at the bird feeder, and the squirrels and the hawk would hang out without eating. I mean, with the hawk
Really?
would attack the squirrel, and like we called him Keegan because we assumed he was a vegan, but but I mean, it was so. I mean, the nature that came out at the beginning of COVID in around. I don't know if anybody else noticed it because I'm a big outside person, but it was just weird how I felt like nature came much closer, and that gave me a lot of joy and happiness just to see that nature like creep on like close to my house, and just hang out and be content there. And I'm like, this is so weird to see this up. I mean, literally, like, from here to here, watching this beautiful hawk just sit there and watch that squirrel. And then they just did this little dance. And the squirrel's like kind of like, am I gonna die today? And they just hung out. But it was amazing. So yeah, I kind of get, that's been a wonderful source of happiness for me. And it was sunshine today. I don't know if you can see my happy shirt, but I had to wear my happy shirt today because I was so happy to see the sun.
We had a murmuration. Ooh, there's her knitting. Pinky, that's amazing. I love that color. That's a good color. My I had, I had a murmuration of starlings in our backyard. So that's when the flock goes like this and goes. It was the most wild thing, and I could feel the energy right before they would take off. It would felt like an electric charge in the air. It was the coolest thing. I recorded it. It's on YouTube if you guys want to see it. It's so you can hear a scream because when they start to go, they swoop really close to you. You're like, "What? Don't hit me! Don't hit." I mean, I think you're cool, but please don't hit me in the face. That's just not what I want today. So
That's amazing. Tell them about what you do. I mean, and your book, and then what you do in your practice, and when you see, how you help people.
Yeah, so as an intuitive healer, I think a lot of people do a little different things with it. So for me, I have beyond the five senses, it's called the five clairs. So clairaudient, clairsentient, clairaudient. I said that one. Gustav, whatever. I can see, hear, and feel things in my body. So people usually come to see me when therapy isn't working and they know something's not right, but they don't necessarily they can't always name it. And it's typically a transition, like in life path, relationships, friendships, right? When they think things aren't working and they don't know what it is. A lot of time it stems from, some sort of past trauma. It doesn't have to be a huge trauma. I say that all the time. Like sometimes it's just that you've never been loved the way you need to. And so you don't know how to express what you need. And so it comes out as bickering, as being picky, as being standoffish, all sorts of defense mechanisms to protect yourself from the thing that you really want. Another thing I see happens a lot that is people get stuck in a groove. They know one thing and then they can't stop doing it, even though what they're doing isn't working for them. Right?
All
Like
the people who do that, right?
there's a lot. So I usually say, again, you'll know my age by this. Like I pick up the needle on the record, I take the dust off, and then I just set it somewhere else because there's other ways to do it and perceive it and whatever. So when I see a client and they'll come to me in my office, or I could do it on the phone or Zoom too, but let's just pretend you're all in front of me. When you sit across from me in my room, my body will immediately start telling me what's going on. I'll feel aches and pains that are similar to what's going on with you. I always feel depression as a headache right here in my mind. I will feel heartache or grief. Sometimes I'll start getting the feelings even before I'm in the office. Like if someone's in a really sad place, I will be so weepy before I see them. And then I just kind of connect. I call them your guides. They could be anything. It's not limited to a religious belief or a dogma or anything like that. I just believe that the world is out here and it's full of love and that like I can just help connect you to that love. Like I like sometimes I say it's like if you pray, I kind of hear the answer that you're getting and I'll just like translate it for you. And then we'll just kind of work through what's going on. And then I don't know if any of you know what Reiki is. So Reiki is like energy healing and they have like symbols and they move energy. But I don't do Reiki, I operate on a little different level. So there's like after we talk for about a half hour, I will move to like I have a massage table. You have all your clothes on, but I'll just kind of go like this around you and your body will then like cue me again because sometimes your body tells me what your mind doesn't. And then I can like literally I see energy. So if you've heard of auras, those are colors and whatnot. I see that. I see gray. And if you've ever heard the term like people are connected with cords, I could see those. And then I just gently, with your permission, I'll just cut them and I just guide you through a specific meditation just for you that I hear while we're there. And then we do that. And most people say they feel like they wake up from the best kind of sleep, even though they're awake after. And it's just a chilling of their energy. Sorry, I have a tickle. I'm going to drink some water.
So do you typically see people like on a repeat, like a regular, like a therapist would, like on a weekly basis or one time or multiple times or whatever they need?
I'm pretty freeform. So I like to say that when someone's in a crisis mode, right, they're in extreme pain or something, I will see them more often. And it really depends on the person. Some people I saw every other week. Sometimes I've seen people once a month for like 3 to 6 months, just to kind of really get past what I call the pain point, like when they're in acute state of unhappiness, right? When they're like really angry or so upset and they're so stuck and they can't move, right? They're just wallowing. Like that sounds not nice, but you're just stuck in that spot. Otherwise, like I say, like the first session usually goes so fast because I'm bombarded with so much information that like, every 3 months, every 6 months to kind of come in for a tune up and then just like rejigger yourself, align yourself again. and go out the door, because I want to empower you. I want you to feel good, and I want to teach you a few things so that you can do for yourself.
Great.
Holly, can y'all hear me? James,
Yes.
Margaret. Okay. Um, how does a person get hold of you? Well, first of all, I missed the very few minutes in the beginning. I'm sorry. Are you in Charlotte?
I am. Hi, Margaret. I'm in Matthews. Yeah, my office is actually in Matthews.
So how does a person get hold of you?
Sure. It's on my website, which is hollyhughes.com.
Okay.
Hughes, like Howard, but without the billions.
Mhm.
And on my front page, it explains how I work and what I do. And there's a big button that says schedule a session. And you
Mhm.
hit that button and you can pick what kind of session you want, in person or over the phone. Again, depending on how comfortable you are with COVID. I want to respect that, even if you're local. And then you just fill it out, and we each get an email, and that's that.
And do you do any weekend work at all? I asked because I have a visiting daughter.
What'd you say? I couldn't hear the one
I
word.
have a visiting daughter.
No, that
Yeah.
part I heard. The roof.
And
The,
so I wondered if you did any weekend appointments.
oh,
Weekend.
weekend. I do. I
Oh,
do.
fabulous.
Yeah. Saturdays, Sunday's my day off.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Sunday and Monday are my days off. You can't typically book. You need at least 24 hours, because I used to not have that, and people would get upset in the middle of the night and book for early in the next morning, and that would not work for me.
Yeah.
So there's a 24-hour window that you have to wait 24 hours to
Yeah.
schedule. But yeah, that totally, I do that. And distance. I have a lot of clients in California and Colorado, and one in Canada. So it really is about if it resonates with you. So is everyone like familiar with like what an intuitive is? Is there something that you would dying to
I
ask?
think that's probably a really good thing to kind of do a little backstory, like how you got into this, what that whole is, because I don't think that's I just assume that everybody knows.
Yeah. So I am an intuitive, which means, so like I was saying, I just kind of feel things and know things. So I know things that I can't possibly know. Like when I'm with you. I don't keep it, I don't write it down, I don't make, I don't know. I don't look anyone up before they show up. If it's a first time appointment, I kind of think that's cheating. And I don't want to cheat. I want to be real, but not perfect when I do my reading too. So I always had my gifts. I did not understand that everyone else didn't, right? Because it was my normal. I like grew up with that, exceedingly afraid of the dark. I would see things and hear things, and I like to tell the story of like when I was little and really afraid of the dark. I had a man, I called him a man, a voice that came to me and just kept me company until I fell asleep every single night that I can remember being really little. And when I was about 12, he said, I'm going to have to go now. And I
Wow.
was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you're older and things are changing and people won't understand. So you won't be able to call me anymore. And I was like, whatever. I didn't believe him. And then he was gone. And then I couldn't call him anymore. And it was like super interesting and fascinating. In my previous life before I was here in Charlotte, I was a TV and film producer in Los Angeles, California. Like for 18 years, I did that. So a very different life. And during that time, I had my gifts, but I didn't listen. I was like so caught up in my own trauma and my own stories and proving that I could do stuff. I was very much like, I'll show you. Like in my book, I call anger a fossil fuel,
I love
because it depletes you. When you use anger to motivate you, which I was pretty good at, right? It exhausts you. It exhausts the people around you. It'll end up bringing illness because your body is tired and weak by the end of it. So I'm a really big believer of that. In my book, I have a lot of Holly's healing tips. Like my other favorite one is life's too short to wear uncomfortable bras or be in uncomfortable relationships, right? Like here's to the women. We know what that feels like. So I have a little sense of humor. Anyway, blah blah blah. I always had these gifts, and like I'd be out to dinner and then I would see someone's deceased relative behind me and I'd be like, ugh, always when I'm drinking and enjoying myself, like I had to learn to control and open and close. Like it used to take me a lot to hear the messages. I would have to get quiet, I would have to like really ground, get in my body, reach up to the, I call it interdimensional, the things that I connect to, the energy I do. And then I realized I can just do it like this now. But that all happened because I got sick. I had to have a hysterectomy. And when I woke up, it was silent.
Wow.
My energy center, second chakra, was literally removed.
Hmm.
So for me, I was like, is this what everyone else feels like? Like, is it this quiet? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't ever know that quiet. So I had to relearn and recapture how to do that without that energy center. And then I went to other people to try to learn that, like some healers will resonate with you and some won't. That happens just like with people. So one woman's like, imagine your womb as an ethereal thing outside your body. And I was like, I just had surgery. Don't say that to me. Like that was like not the thing to say to me. I was literally in so much pain and I was like, no, wrong person for me. So anyway, I learned how to redo it. And then I thought, maybe one day I will open an office and see what happens. And the next day, literally after I said that, my friend said, my friend is trying to share an office. Would you ever like do what you do for real? Because I would do it for friends. My husband likes to call me like, his party witch, like, we can do like tricks at a party. And then I was like, okay, because I felt like it was an opportunity. And so I just started, literally, I just opened my door because why not? That's my attitude about a lot of things like, okay, I'll try, see what happens. Because I also really, really believe in life, you can make a choice. And if the choice doesn't work, you can make another.
Mhm.
Right? You're like, I also like to say that you don't play with the toys at 8 that you played with when you were 4. And when you're 16, you don't like what you were 8. And so like, as we grow as a person, what we like and what we need, it might evolve too. And that is okay. Like you should embrace that, right? Like we all know, like when I talk to women or I see things on Twitter, right? Do you guys Twitter? And they're like, oh my God, I'm 24. I'm 24 and my life is just, I can't. I'm like, stop. I don't even know if you pay for your bills. Why are you so upset? Relax. Like just relax a little. Now I was wound up then myself. Like I was like, I had a plan.
Mhm.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I had a 5-year plan for my work. I had a 5-year plan for my life, and then that all blew up and none of that happened the way I thought. And then you have to be like, all right, instead of demanding what you want should look like, right? I want love. I want affection. I want a career. I want to learn how to dance on my toes. Whatever it is that you want, I want better friendships.
Mhm.
How it shows up might be different the way than what you imagined. And like letting go of how you think it ought to be might bring in better.
Mhm.
And that's a really challenging one. I mean, even for me, that one sometimes will just pickle my brain. I'm like, but I thought, no.
Yeah. Well, COVID for sure forced some of us into those things because we couldn't do, we had to take a different path for sure. Because many of us just got shut down for the path we were on, whether it was a good path or not a good path, whatever it was. For most of us, it got shut down. And then, that first month was awful for some of us. For me, it was terrible. My husband is in like bliss. He's like, so like, this is like, he's been like Disney for him. Because he's content in our house and his home office now. And like I cook and he works and he doesn't have to leave and he's like blissful. And I'm like, you're insane because I'm going out of my mind here. And then I have technology things that I don't want to do, but I have to do in order to stay connected to people.
Yeah.
So, and if you would have asked me whether I ever would do this, I would have said no. If you would have asked me if I ever teach a class with a mask on, I would have said no. But you'd be surprised. I mean, for those of you who haven't come back to the Y because you don't want to wear a mask, I mean, I totally understand it. I was in that complete, I'm not teaching in a mask. Oh, I mean, I thought that would be a horrific thing to do. And lo and behold, it's really not as bad. Like every one of you on here, well, not every one of you, but many of you on this call right now are wearing a mask and working out, and it's like, oh, okay, so I can do this. So I don't know. I mean, COVID is as bad as it's been. It's also forced some of that stuff you were talking about, Holly, for me anyway, just forced me to step outside my comfort zone and delve into stuff that I said, I'm absolutely never doing that. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I think COVID made people emotionally had to cope with a lot, right? So that because what else were you doing with your brain? I mean, really, like I've gotten into K dramas the last month, so I mean, I could tell you, I could go off the deep end with that because it's not my culture, not my language, not my like. There's all these things for me to learn, right? So it takes me out of my own bubble, my own world, what's going on in North Carolina, and I enjoy that. But I'm also a doer, right? Like, do you think I thought, oh yeah, I should publish a book? Oh my god, I think it's the best time to publish a book. It's during COVID. I mean, because like we can all get together and celebrate, and it's so fun and so easy. No, but like I think like if it's a little bit of a mindset and we can't always stay there, but anything is possible. It just might not look the way we think, and that's okay. But just I think it's the days that we have where we're exceedingly sad and disappointed or fed up, right? I'm a big believer you have to feel it to heal it. So if you deny that you're feeling that way and you slap on a happy face, like those commercials where people have the smile, don't do that. Like my daughter has seen me cry plenty during this because it's overwhelming, right? And again, as an empath, I will feel tenfold of what is going on until I like recreate an energetic boundary and keep other people's stuff over there. And I think that to be human and own all of that, it might be a bad day or maybe two. Then after that, you'll get your stuff back. You'll be like, oh, all right, there I am. I feel better now. And all right, fine, I'll cook a good meal, right? Like, whatever that is. I think that's important that people sometimes plow through. They plow through life, they plow through a problem, thinking that if they ignore it, it will go away, or right. And it doesn't really work that way.
You mentioned calls from around the country. Do you do work by long distance?
Absolutely. I do phone and Zoom calls, all depending on what a person prefers. Sometimes I prefer a phone call because I've noticed at Zoom, they'll get all made up and they won't be like themselves because they'll be posing for the camera. So it all depends on the person, but whatever someone's comfortable with is what I do. I mean, honestly, I've been doing phone work with even local people. So
Okay.
because they didn't want to come, and my office is open now. So
Mhm. I assume it helps to have a first appointment in real life.
I think so. I think then you get a really good feel for me, and I get a really good feel for you.
Where were you born and raised, Holly?
Ooh, I was born and raised on Long Island, but I don't identify as a New Yorker. So I'm
What
definitely
age
not a New
did you,
Yorker.
yeah, what age did you leave New York?
I left New York when I was 18 and I never went back.
So New York, California, Charlotte?
New York, DC,
Oh,
LA, Denver, LA.
no.
Mm, yeah, New York again to be near my dad for a little while.
Mhm.
Back to LA, Charlotte.
And you met and married
In LA. We met at a Super Bowl party.
wow, and that's what brought you here was the two of you together or what?
Yeah, we sat down and had a conversation. My daughter was 2.5 at the time. And I was no longer in entertainment because I wanted to raise my daughter. It was really important for me to be a mother. Is the one thing in my life that I did very traditionally, which was get married, make sure that one worked. And then I wanted that before I became a parent. I wanted to know the marriage was going to work. And then I wanted to be a mom. Like I wanted to raise my daughter. It was very important to me. So she was 2.5, and we sat down and we had a conversation that went like this. Do we want a life where we have to work hard to get by, or one we can enjoy?
Uh-huh.
And then we started looking around the country, and my husband fell in love with Charlotte.
Oh,
Um, and the irony of we paid for ourselves to move across the country, which is not cheap.
yeah.
And then he was offered the schmancy job. And when we got here, the man who had hired him had retired. And he went to work. And then the new boss said, "You don't have a job."
Oh my gosh. Goodness.
Yeah. And my husband said, "What do we do?" And I said, "Lemonade." So, it was hard, but like you have to decide, right? What's going to work. And so we've been here like over a decade now. So I don't know when I become a charlatine. I call it charlatini because I think it's kind of cute,
That is
like a Cosmo, but I don't know if that upsets other people. So I try not to say it. But I don't know how long I have to be here before I am one. Like
I
how
don't
many
know, but
years?
so many fewer and fewer show, you know. I've been here longer than everybody on this screen, probably. But babe, I don't know. I came in 71. Before there was liquor by the drink.
Ooh.
Before there was a Y, a Harris Y.
It's probably where I'm living now. It was farmland because we bought it and there's horses across the street from me now. Like, I'm a city girl and we've gone full rural. So this is, interesting for me. It's awesome.
And your zodiac, your horoscope, your zodiac.
Oh, me, you want to know what that is? What do you think I am?
I don't know. I just have Pisces friends that are intuitive. So
Pisces usually are. I'm an Aquarian.
Aquarian.
Yeah, so definitely march to the beat of my own drum.
Yeah.
That's a pretty typical Aquarian trait. Humanitarian and march to the beat of your own drum.
Well, that's great, Holly. It's just so many great things to think about. Does anybody else have any questions for Holly today or thoughts? Anything?
Laura, I see your mind going. What is going on in that mind?
Am I unmuted? Let me
Uh-huh.
unmute. I lost myself. I am just thinking of so many things. I'm from the same area you are. My ex-husband is from Long Island.
Sorry.
We actually moved from sort of city life to a farm community in upstate New York for a while. And I came down here actually for a different man because I'm divorced from the Long Island guy because I like the quieter lifestyle. I'm looking for that too. And just getting my feet wet, and I'm taking notes because you've said a lot of things that are giving me food for thought. So
goody.
I'm a thinker. I need to sort of marinate with the thoughts for a while.
Yeah, energetically, I'm going to tell you what you look like to me. Are you okay with
Okay.
that? Okay. You
Sure.
have two paths coming behind, looks like literally like a Y, like two roads coming into where you are now. And there really is a lit path in front of you, but it's like, you're like, is that really it? Like, that's how it feels energetically to me.
Yeah.
So, do you know like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? Do you know that?
No.
What? Okay. There's this
I mean,
thing.
I know of the movie and the franchise, but
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
There's a moment where he has to take a leap of faith and it looks like he's going to just go into this crevasse and he throws dirt out and there's a hidden path and there's a path there for him. So
All
I
right.
feel
Is
like
is that kind of the metaphor for me now? All right. I feel like getting some dirt and throwing it.
yeah, why not? Why not? Although yours kind of doesn't look like that. Yours looks like a puddle, like like a shallow puddle. So it's reflecting. So I feel like it's like, you're like, is it safe to go in there or am I going to get all wet? More like that.
All right. No, I think it's you're only the second intuitive I've known of. And the other one did not have as much wisdom to impart as I'm sensing from you.
Oh, thank you.
So I am interested in your practice and what you have to say. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I think, I'd like to say I've been through a few things in my life, some horrible things, honestly. And if you just, they can inform your life, but they don't have to like rule your life. So that's why I really like letting people know that happiness is an option, that we can really get through almost anything. And an intuitive person is a great tool to kind of help you get through some things, like I think, why not ask for help? Because I know even asking for help was something I had to learn. Right? It's like, I could do it. But you can't.
No.
No man's an island, right? That doesn't work. It doesn't really work that way. And if you guys, honestly, if you're like, if you have Kindle Unlimited, like if you have ebooks unlimited through Amazon, you can read my book for free right now on it.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of tips and stuff in it.
Right. And we can find your book on Amazon, right?
Yep, Amazon.com. So Real Not Perfect by Holly Rachel Hughes. Someone just tried to copy my book. The book came out and they used my font and my title. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's biggest form of flattery though, right?
I don't
Weird.
know. It's 2 years of my life. Could they not do that? I'm just like, whatever. But
But I
yeah,
think
so
this is book two.
yeah, everything is on my website too. So hollyhughesintuitive.com.
Book
It's all
two.
there.
Huh?
Yeah, I have a book. It's on Amazon right now.
Yeah, the book, if you, over her shoulder, you can see her book cover. So there she is. And you can go on Amazon and find it and find out more great Hollyisms.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Well, Holly, thank
Thanks.
you. Gosh, I have to apologize for last week, everybody. And for those of you who decided to watch this later because you're outside taking a walk, you know, I'll forgive you. I get it. It's a nice day. And, you know, like, do I want to be sitting in a Zoom meeting? Maybe not, but we missed you and hope you enjoyed your walk. Next week, we will be back with something we've had before, the Care Weavers. Cindy and Elizabeth have been on before. This is kind of an interesting topic that they're sharing. So it's about hospitalization. So the point is like, and you know, it seems like, oh, do we want to talk about that? But yes, so we really, I mean, sometimes we plan to be hospitalized, but more times than not, we don't. So what they're going to talk about is really just particularly during the pandemic, what you need to sort of have figured out just in case you have to be hospitalized, you know, to manage the situation. Because, you know, during COVID, if you have to be hospitalized, it can be pretty lonely. It can be, you know, you can be out there on your own and not, and the communication lines are different than they used to be. And it's not like you have somebody there, even though that was always a little bit of a challenge too, because you had to have somebody there when the people made rounds and stuff like that. But to, you know, manage the situation, to ensure that there's good communication from yourself, but also to your family and to your loved ones. So they're going to be talking about that for us next week, just so that we have sort of a nice plan in case we, you know, something should ever happen. I'm kind of like that, you know, I'm a Boy Scout like that. I'm always like ready. Yeah, I'm sort of a planner, probably a problematic planner maybe, but like I'm a just in case, like if this should happen, I want to be ready for it. So, because I don't really love chaos very much. Chaos stresses me out. So, you know, there's a point in time where you can't prepare for everything and you probably shouldn't, but sometimes it's good to like know what you're doing and have a plan. So I don't know as I'm saying this, I'm thinking she's probably thinking you need to let it go.
No, I actually 100% agree. Well, so I lost my home to a fire and an earthquake, like 2 different times, right? So in LA, I had an earthquake bag, right? So I had a bag full of clothes, cash, all those sorts of things. I think fires happen every day and every kind of, so like I think having that is a great idea. I think you should always have a plan because it might not go according to plan, but at least you've thought about it.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
That's going, all the let it go rules, but thank you for, you know, putting that in perspective.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much, Holly, for being here. You can find Holly's book on Amazon. You can find her at Holly Hughes.
Intuitive.com. I put it in the comment section on the side.
Okay, it's there.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you guys. I
Bye.
really appreciate it.
Thank you
Have a great
both.
day.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, Horace. Take care.